welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and on this very special day in the arena, we are going to be going over the results of the Mythic Championship. Mythic Championship is the term that has replaced the Pro Tour and is meant to describe the biggest, most exciting, most prestigious Magic tournaments of the year. And this one was won by Autumn Burchett, the first English Mythic or Pro Tour champion in history. Pro Tours was recently changed to Mythic, so that's going to be a thing. If I call it a Pro Tour or a Mythic, I'm actually talking about the exact same stuff. But most of what I'm going to go over with you today is what won and how to find the results and how to look at the results. Autumn played Mono Blue, which it's really funny. I have a video going up today. The day that I'm recording is the day after the Pro Tour, but my videos are scheduled a day or two in advance. And I have a video of Mono Blue going up today from the Color Challenge. So brilliant timing, I suppose. But you wouldn't, it's kind of hard to know that. There's some screenshots of the deck list, but you can't really get the MTG Arena imports that way. And some things like that. Here's some metagame stuff. This is all on a Googled Hipsters of the Coast article, but how to find the decks of the Pro Tour, how to see the decks of the Mythic Championship. Well, if you go to DailyMTG, or if you Google Magic the Gathering, this is probably the website that you'll come to, the mothership they call it, the official Magic the Gathering website. And then this kind of awkward thing happens where you have to figure out how to get to the deck lists, because a lot of the deck lists are published, and it is amazing to see all the things that the pros get. And in a weird way, the deck that wins the tournament might not be the best deck of the weekend. I'll explain. So, but first let's go to our, let's find it. So if we go to events, and then we go to event archive, and then we scroll. No? Okay, maybe I see more here. So, such a website, you guys. If we scroll, we get, this is the coverage. Here's the top 8 deck lists. But here's the article I'm looking for, which is the 27 to 30 match point deck lists. So, Mythic Championships in their current format are a combination of standard and draft. That means that you have to play 6 rounds of draft and 10 rounds of standard. So a deck could do insanely well in standard, but still not make top 8 or not finish on top of the standings because the player may have a particularly difficult draft. So I like to find this article, which is the 27 to 30 and 24 to 26 match point deck lists. To keep things nice and confusing, we play 10 rounds of standard, 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss. So a 30-point deck list has 3 points for 10 wins, which means it went 10-0. It was undefeated in the standard portion. And then you're also looking for decks that with 27 points, those can be 9-1. 25 points is 8-1-1. 8-2 are 24 points, still amazing. Anytime you have a standard deck that is putting up those kind of results against top tier competition, winning 80% of its matches, that is a really good weekend. So here we go. What is the lone undefeated deck list of the Mythic Championship in Cleveland this weekend? It's Esper Control. Yay. So this is going to lead me to a mini rant, but also just telling all of you, my friends, where I'm coming from with this. Pro Tours not that long ago occurred shortly after a set's release, which means the format was unsolved and people didn't know what decks were going to be brought. And YouTubers like myself would get very excited about seeing new decks at the Pro Tour. This happens less and less now for reasons that we only really have theories about. We don't really know why. Wizards has moved the events to later in the calendar. So a set comes out, and then there's a bunch of other events like SCG events, which I've done some videos on, and Grand Prix events, which I've done some videos on. And then there's the Pro Tour. And pros have even written articles on sites like Channel Fireball saying that the key to winning and doing well at the Pro Tour now, at the Mythic Championship now, is not to brew, just do not brew decks. Do not try to come up with a new deck. Just tune the best looking existing decks, because by the time the Mythic happens, the best decks have already been found. So some of these aren't going to exactly blow your mind. Here's a Simic Nexus of Fate deck that went 9 and 0 and 1. I think it's a 1-draw Nexus of Fate deck. So there's that. For me as a content creator, what I'm going to play is a little bit up in the air as I try to find things that are interesting. Here's a Sultai mid-range deck, and here's a mono blue deck. Now we'll probably go down the list. I also have an idea for like doing the entire top 8 in 5 games, which I think I can do because of what was in the top 8. I'll cover that in a different video, but I'm not really looking to play these decks that are very, very within a few cards similar of decks I've already played on the channel for this season. So I'm going to try to find another way to do coverage. For today, I'm going to scroll through these decks and look for something different. Can I find you something different to play today? Here's a Mardu aggro deck that looks pretty interesting. It has Angrath the Flame Chained, Adanto Vanguard, the Fireblade Artist, Gutterbones, Judith. That's pretty neat. So there's another way. Obviously, I'm mostly showing you this page and explaining it so that you can go look at this page, find it for yourself, and find a deck that you really, really want to play. Then once we find a deck we want to play, Raphael Levy. Well, this one I think we can do. Raphael Levy, this is his 100th Pro Tour. That's more than anybody else in the history of the game. He's been in nearly all of them. I don't think he's been in absolutely all of them, but 100, he was in the very first one, and he's now in the very first Mythic. He is a Hall of Famer. He is one of the more accomplished players. He is French, and he is a big part of the French MTG community, probably always has been, always will be. He is a team national champion. He has a long list of accolades. Look him up, Raphael Levy. But he said for the 100th time, I need to do something different. I can't play another control deck. And he grabbed Merfolk. And this Merfolk deck went 8-2 at the Pro Tour. A Merfolk deck went 8-2 at the Mythic Championship. That's pretty amazing. So I'm going to import this deck and we'll play it for a few games here today. Now, there's a few ways to import the deck. I'm going to show you one, and then I'm going to show you another. What? I thought I was going to show you one. So normally when I click this, weird. All right, I'm not even allowed to do that. I'm not allowed to get that because of safety. So normally, I think most people, when you click this, it downloads a little Word doc that you can convert to an Arena deck list on aetherhub.com. But since they're not going to even let me do that right now, that's weird, I'm going to go over to this website, which is MTG Goldfish, which has the decks from the Mythic Championship in a very easy to find place, I might add, right up here on the right. So all you gotta do is click that and you see all these decks, and you scroll down to the deck you want. Here's Merfolk, and you go hit export to Magic Arena. You copy this little wall of text, Control C, or right click, copy. Then you go into the arena. See if I can switch it over. Look at that, magic. Import. And there's our deck. Raph's Fish, we'll call it. So let's get in on this bad baby. All right, we've got 4 Benthic Biomancers. When you put counters on this, you get to loot. That has to be a big draw of the deck. And we have 4 Jade Bearers to put counters on it, and we have 4 Deep-Root Elites to put counters on the Benthic Biomancer, as well as other Merfolk if you're just beating the crap out of things. Cumena also does it when you have 5 other Merfolk. Incubation Incongruity. Search your top 5, get you a creature, or make a frog. I guess it's the removal of the deck. Then we have 2 Tricksters for a little shenanigans, 4 Silver Gills, 4 Deep-Root Elite, 4 Mistbinder. None of those Explorer Merfolk. Explorer, get the heck out of here. We have enough of you in our other decks. And there's a Cumena Speaker. The Deep-Root Waters just going off. The mana in Merfolk is fantastic. You have the breeding pools, the hinterland harbors, and the unclaimed territories. Very hard to get color screwed. It can happen. Do remember, you cannot, if you keep a hand that's like 2 unclaimed territories, you cannot cast incubation with those. You also cannot cast deep root waters with those. Out of the sideboard, which I'm going to play some best of 1 today because that's what I like to do, but I'll give you some sideboarding insights for your best of 3 shenanigans. Obviously, negate, spell pierce, disdainful stroke, counter spells, decks that sweep the board. You need some number of these. Negate you definitely need against Nexus of Fate decks as well, and anything Esper control. But disdainful stroke, you bring this in against Sultai or against other decks that have big creatures that they want to cast like Lyra. So disdainful stroke, I mostly think of Sultai, maybe like Esper midrange, something like that, where you need to stop something bigger from coming down that might be a creature, not negatable. 4 Crawl Harpooners. Take that, mono blue. You may have won the Pro Tour, but you're not going to beat these Merfolk. We've got these feisty Harpooners to get in there. 4 copies. 2 Tempest Caller. Are you in a board stall? Is the opponent's white aggro deck have like 1,000,000 power and toughness to fight your 1,000,000 power of toughness? Just get yourself a Tempest Caller with an incubation. Finish the game. And a Crushing Canopy, probably more mono blue and Nexus of Fate hate. As far as what to side out, Merfolk Trickster seems like an extremely flexy spot and can probably come out in many situations, but I would often sub out Cumena's Speaker, and here's why. Sideboarded games get much grindier. The opponent is going to bring in more cheap removal. It's much less likely your Cumena's Speaker is going to do a lot of good beating you down. So I bet that Cumena's Speaker gets sideboarded out for some of these answers and grindier cards since the games are expected to go longer. And if you're not sure what to take out, I would err on the side of cutting a few Jade Bearers and Cumena's Speakers and maybe the Merfolk Tricksters when you're trying to decide how the heck to do this. You may also want to cut Deep Root Waters if your opponent is really good at destroying enchantments. That's about all I've got for it. Let's go play some best of 1 games with the Merfolk deck and have some fun. Probably. Okay, this curve is awesome. We're on the play. Biomancer, Silvergill, Cumena. All right, let's roll. Cinder Barons. So perhaps some red-black shenanigans. I live in fear of Chain Whirlers. Let's reveal the other Adept. I don't think that there's a lot of cost to that, but if we reveal Cumena, our opponent might save a removal spell for Cumena. If we reveal Trickster, the trick part of it is much less useful. Tap land. Okie dokes. Well, I think I go straight to Cumena time. And now Chain Whirler's off the table, but Cry of the Canarium is not. I'm just going to go into drawing more cards. I'm going to assume the opponent can gum up the board somehow and that the beatdown plan won't be good, but that the value plan might be very good. Moment of Craving. It's an 0-2. That's weird. Did our opponent mean to leave up a shock? Oops. Yeah, I agree. All right. Let's deploy the Silvergill Adept. So awkward. I'm in a competitive event. I'm not trying to beat up new players or players that miss things. I'm just trying to live my life. So I'm going to play the Elite instead of the Mistbinder. Even though our opponent knows about it, I'm going to hang on to the Mistbinder. Because I'm not attacking yet, I'm going to pump this squad. 4 mana. Golden Demise. I had a bad feeling about that. Alright, well, that won't save things from the Golden Demise, but I'll get a loot and my Cumena grows. So, it's that. Would I rather have the loot and a grown Cumena or a card? I guess I'd rather have a card. A card is better, I think, than a loot and a +1/+1 counter. So, alright. Our first try at going off has failed. The Jund deck has wrathed us. Let's get a Deep Root Waters onto the table. This will help us rebuild rather brutally. I could play a Mistbinder by paying 2 life, or I could play a Speaker. I think I'll... I'm going to play the Speaker. I don't want to expose the Mistbinder if it's just going to die or get swept. And we'll say go again. I'll draw more cards. Happy to grind with Cumena, which could turn out to be a mistake, but I like making mistakes. I learn this way. Draw me another card. Creatures are gone, but really that Golden Demise didn't trade for anything because the only thing it killed was the Speaker, and I drew a new card. All right. What am I doing now? I think I'll go try to get a Biomancer to, or a Deeproot Elite to go off again. Oh, both. I'll take the Elite because my hand is already pretty good and looting it would get kind of silly. Here's a critter. So now I can at least get out of Golden Demise range, which seems to be my opponent's sweeper of choice, by putting a counter here and putting a counter here. So those are both out of Demise range, plus Cumena can make them all even bigger. So I'll say go. Lots of -2/-2 numbers here. I think this opponent, much like me, is targeting red and white aggro decks with their tiny creatures. And there's another one, the Cry of the Canarium. So let's respond by putting 5 counters on our dorks. And that worked. That worked very well. Thank you. Double Elite. This is getting so crazy. So let's see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 counters. How much damage is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, so close. All right. Let's use mana from... Nope, not the breeding pool, please. I would like to use it from the unclaimed territory, please. Make some things. Maybe I mathed wrong. Let's find out. I like to put the counters on my hexproof things. All right, and I could tap... No, that wouldn't work. I was thinking, like, do I tap 2 of my things to do 5 more damage? That doesn't really help much. And then we slam in. Oh, I could tap my 3... I could tap the Jade Bearer and the 2 fish to try to draw another 1-drop Merfolk. That would be lethal. The opponent scoops. I don't blame them. I know I was taking my time there. Playing well does take time. Sorry. Dragon Shield sleeves are only $7.99 on FlipsideGaming.com right now. And if you use the promo code CGB at checkout, you will save 10% and support the channel at the same time. So remember to use the promo code CGB. Mulligan. All right. Biomancer, 2 Deeproot Waters. Stuff could happen. Too much land. Go from one extreme to the other. This is madness. Uh-oh, mono white. Well, the mono white matchup can be interesting. I'm trying to decide, do I need to incubation here and have a good 2-drop, or should I just run out my Biomancer? Let's go for the bio. Maybe we just want to trade it here, but that's hard to picture. Maybe the opponent's too scared to attack. It is just a 1/1 after all. I think I do want to trade. I love my Biomancer, but when the white deck gets creatures on the board, things like giant elephants start showing up. Oh man, I have no Merfolk in hand for the Silver Guild. That's so bad. All right, let's use incubation, see if we can find something. We have a Jade Bear, a Cumena Speaker, we have a Mistbinder. We could play the Cumena Speaker this turn, which is the big reason to get that over a Mistbinder, and I think I will. I think that being on the battlefield is a big key in this matchup, and I'm confident I can draw another... I am confident I can draw another Merfolk by the time I'm ready to cast this with the Waters online. Alright, we know that means heroic reinforcements at some point. And we have to shock ourselves to play this Deeproot Waters. Just gotta make like 1 million creatures here. The island pumps the speaker to a 2/2. I will definitely trade if the opponent attacks, but if they marshal, everything's bigger. Now I can't trade. Oh, there's the elephant. The opponent got much more explosive than we did, and I did not draw another creature. This is a tragedy, a true tragedy. It's a fish apocalypse. Let's block one of these and die. Yeah. Holy cow. Well, this is a nice little curve of fish. Why not? All right, out with the command speaker. Let's get a body on the battlefield. Then it's probably elite, and just see if the opponent can answer them. And right away we get a hollowed fountain. And the opponent looks at hand, goes into tank. And a tapped Forsaken Sanctuary and go. So I'm going to play the Silvergill Adept because I'm flooding out and I only have one more Merfolk in my hand. We'll reveal this. And we need one in hand to cast the Silvergill cheaply. Let's pump up this speaker because I think that the opponent will target this Deeproot if they can remove it anyway. Whereas the speaker is more likely to not be a high priority target. Plus, it's now out of range of Cry of the Canarium, which is the third turn sweeper an opponent could play. And that's game. This is a weird hand. With 3 unclaimed territories, we can't cast Deeproot Waters. We have an early Cumena speaker, but might not even be a 2/2. But we have Cumena, which is the mythic kind of boss of this deck. It's a very medium hand. I don't know how good my 6 could be, and almost any creature that we draw off the top is good, and any blue mana we draw off the top lets us play Deeproot. So this is kind of frustrating that I need to actually draw a 5th land, but if I don't, I'll have a bunch of creatures, and if I do, I'll have a castable spell. I feel like I should mulligan it, but I don't want to on the play. On the draw, I think I definitely would, but I'll keep it on the play. And we'll see. We'll see what a fountain of regret I've made for myself. Our opponent took a mulligan to 6, scryed to the bottom. Let's hope that this lets us get out ahead of them, or that they don't have an answer to the Cumena. It is a mountain. All right, let's name Merfolk. I have a bad feeling about this. But let's get in there and hope that the opponent doesn't have the removal spell. They have the Pyromancer, excellent. And there's the blue source. I'm going to play the Cumena now though. I'm too worried that the Deeproot is going to die. So let's get Cumena on the board, and I'm going to pump. The elite takes it out of Chain Whirler range, but pumping Cumena can be even better. Just making this as big as I can make it very hard to attack through. This is a tough call. I'm going to go for the elite. The opponent says hello. Hello, opponent. How are you today? Just here having a think about a very important possibly game-deciding decision to make. No big deal. Reading up on Cumena. Checking out Deeproot Elite. Don't tell him we don't have any Merfolk left. All right, here's Wizard's Lightning. So we have to tap 3 here to draw a card in response, which means we don't get to block the Pyromancer, which is bad, but we need the cards. If we don't get the cards, we will not be able to make the giant Merfolk. Or the wide Merfolk, the wide and giant Merfolk. And this is a really good draw, because now we have the land for the waters, and we can play the speaker. And that can make 2 more Merfolk right away, which can get us back to drawing cards with Cumena, and have a leftover to block the Pyromancer. So, what is the play? Skewering those critics In this case, Cumena's Speaker. We draw another Merfolk, which is nice. But I think that the line with the waters is the right line, even though we won't have a creature in hand for the Adept. I still think that we want to get the waters cooking. And we'll kick it on over to the opponent, who will have to find a way. Can they deal with Cumena? Leaving Cumena alive. Here is a Wizard's Lightning. We could draw a card here. I think that is still worth it in this spot, because every Merfolk we draw creates 2 Merfolk. So I think it's okay to let the opponent punch us a few more times and draw those cards. All right, down to 12. I don't want to do that much more, that is for sure. Let's use the Unclaimed Territory mana first in case we draw a spell or another Deeproot Waters. We'll play a Silvergill Adept, revealing our only other Merfolk, which we were fortunate enough to draw. And that gets us a Mistbinder, which is excellent. But it can wait. Hold on. I think I need to play one of these first. Like I said, in case I draw, in this case, an Incubation Incongruity, I may want to cast this turn. So we'll add a blue. And reveal. And now we have 6 mana, which I think means that I can go ahead and attack with this Cumena. We have to start clocking the opponent at some point. I said 6 mana, I mean 6 creatures. These 5 can get pumped by Cumena. +1/+1 counters for all. I don't think I need to draw cards anymore. I think I have enough cards to win the game, enough material. Now we go through making it big. However, I don't want to take any more damage from my opponent, so if my opponent targets any of my Silvergill Adepts with a spell, I will probably... Let's see, I'll probably let them die and save the 1/1s to block and eat up the opponent's board. We'll see. How much are we attacking for next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21? Alright. Alright, maybe I would pump them in response to something like a Chain Whirler. But the opponent, they don't see a way out, so they're going to scoop them up. Mana necklaces have arrived at hauntedflower.com. These necklaces are a great way to show your favorite MTG colors. Remember to use the promo code CGB at checkout to save 10%. That is promo code CGB on hauntedflower.com. All right, we have a kind of a slow draw. I guess I'd be relying on Incubation to find me a 2-drop, which is pretty reliable in the deck. And if we found like a Deeproot Elite, that would go really well with the rest of the hand. So I'll keep the hand, and I'm looking for a 2-drop off Incubation. Oh my, we have many options. I will go for the Deeproot Elite. I do not like all this that I had to put on the bottom, though. It's random, so you can't see what's on the bottom, but we remember. We remember the Fallen. I have a bad feeling that this Elite is going to die. Is it possibly right to play nothing? And then the next turn, play Deeproot Waters, and the turn after that, play Elite and Jade Bearer? Is that possibly right? I don't think so. I don't think that can be right. I think I need to absorb my opponent's removal spells. Otherwise, they'll just run me over. I'll just be too low on life. And if they don't kill Deeproot Elite, we can always play Cumena instead. Okay, our opponent bricked on land. That's a big deal. So I don't think I play the Waters here. I think I play the Cumena. And the Firebrand can kill the Elite if I don't pump it. The Wizard's Lightning can kill it anyway. So let's pump up Cumena. Let's get Cumena out of range. I could have also played these 2 creatures, and that might have, but then this would be a target. I guess I could have made it big enough, but then the Deeproot Elite would still die, so nothing changes. So I'm going to block here. My opponent might be able to go land, kill the Cumena, but that leaves the Deeproot Elite alive. I could also let them have Spectacle, which I guess is no big deal since they have these two cards. Yeah, if they have Spectacle, they're not going to play a Light Up the Stage this turn. They might play a Skewer the Critics, but then they lose one of these. So yeah, I think I'll let that go. It is a crucial decision. The opponent's not happy with how fast I'm playing, but it is a big decision. Okay, they're going to light the stage. So they needed to find another land that badly. And there is a Goblin Chainwhirler lurking. So do they Wizard's Lightning? Do they Firebrand? Do they target me? Do they target the creature? I'd probably target the creature too. Alright, let's play Island. I love getting out Deeproot Waters and the Jade Bearer now. And because there's a Chainwhirler coming, I'm going to boost the 2/2, and I'll just say go from here. I think we need to prevent damage. Our opponent has a ton of cards, so we need to make sure that our things do not die. Curious if the opponent decides to hang on to Goblin Chainwhirler. Opponent wants to attack. Here's the hexproof creature. And now we'll draw a card. I don't want to risk Cumena for anything. Cumena is my world. And Cumena can grind out opposing decks on its own as long as it gets to live. So here's Chainwhirler. Yep, down goes our Jade Bearer. But we will rebuild. We have a new Cumena. Okay. I think I like the Incubation. Try to find another 2-drop or 1-drop. Biomancer's sweet. This lets us get our loot on to fix our hand a bit. Oh no, it does not until we can put counters on it, but we can as soon as we have a wide enough board here with Cumena. And then we'll play this, we'll say Merfolk, and we'll say go. The plan is to put counters on all these. The opponent's probably going to target something with the removal spell. This does mean we have to take a bump from this Chainwhirler. Oh, okay. The opponent's going to attack first. So let's go to blocks. Let's put up the hexproof creatures. Say block. And before the damage happens, we'll pump the squad. The opponent can kill the Mistcloak, the Herald, but I think it's okay. Or the Mistbinder, I mean. They can kill the Mistbinder. That would leave me losing one of my fish. But I think that's okay. We can make more. Draw a card. We'll discard other Cumena. This Cumena will never die, don't worry. Okay. Now we'll make more fish. Run the playback. Every time that we put counters on the Biomancer, we get to draw more, or loot more at least. The opponent wants to do it again. Let's go you, you, and you. Block. Opponent will sort. They'll point something somewhere. We'll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And keep discarding. And the shock does now not kill the speaker, so now Chainwhirler is down. The opponent needed a bolt. A shock wasn't quite big enough. Contrary to popular belief, first strike plus a burn spell is not indestructible. Alright, the Silvergill Adept. It's expensive, but we draw a card, and we get the Merfolk that we need to keep using Cumena. And now the opponent's scooping them up. All right, we're going to leave it here for the day. We got to 4 wins, 1 loss. Maybe we'll be able to close it out, but we're out of time for today's games. I'd like to thank you for watching the video. Look forward to more Pro Tour Mythic Invitational related types of videos. There are some other neat decks in that in that deck list, and I think I can come up with a way to do the top 8 in 5 games, all in one video, cover all the decks of the top 8 in one video. But for today, we are out of time. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.